What's up, guys? You're listening to Blog It Up Tuesday for the week of August the 4th, 2015. Today we're going to talk about WWE wrestling legend and Hall of Famer Roddy Piper, who just recently passed this past weekend. Wow. How do I even get into this whole conversation about a wrestling legend? For those of you who are tuning to this Blog It Up Tuesday, you may have noticed there was no intro music or any of that nonsense this week. And that's just out of respect to the passing of a great wrestling legend. You know, I grew up on wrestling as a kid, and I remember watching the old school AWA and Smoky Mountain Wrestling, NWA, WCW, WWF, WWWF, and I looked up to wrestling as a kid. You know, I always looked up to, Jerry the King Lawler, Abdullah the Butcher, Andre the Giant, such great legends. Sting, Ric Flair, Magnum TA, Dusty Rhodes, baby, Dusty Rhodes. That was my impression of Dusty Rhodes, by the way. We had the opportunity to experience wrestling, and I just fell in love with it. Over the years, we lost a lot of great wrestling legends that many of you may not even consider legends, or you guys, think, because certain things happened in their lives and the way they've gone on, after their passing, the way they took their lives, or just certain situations and how they passed. You guys don't look at them as legends. Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, are just some of the true guys that I looked up to as well. Roddy Piper was not only a true talent, but was a superstar who really stood out, who may have never really gotten the opportunity or the credit or enough credit for the work that he put into the wrestling business. And it's unfortunate because such superstars as himself are here today, gone tomorrow. Roddy Piper has left a legacy in the wrestling business. And I've gone on to social media and I've said this. I'm going to say it to you guys today as well. Whoever's watching this broadcast on YouTube, I'm going to say it here as well. For anyone who ever wants to get into the wrestling business, if you need somebody to look up to as a role model, to kind of study the character, study the influence that he put into this wrestling business. And like I said, there are wrestlers out there who may not get enough credit, and maybe Roddy Piper might be one of those people. But the truth of the matter is, if you look at his hard work, the character that he created, that persona he carried in the ring was just phenomenal, unforgettable. The person that Roddy Piper was outside of the ring was not the person you saw in the ring. Yeah, you know, Roddy Piper was crazy, his personality was out there, but generally he was genuine. He helped out. He was very cautious and very caring about the ones he worked with and his family and his friends. He mentored a lot of people. And I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people out there who's going to still to this day continue to look up to Roddy Piper. You know, Piper's probably been in the business, I don't know, I would say maybe 30 years. Maybe a little over 30 years, maybe a little under 30 years. But the remarkable presence that he left behind, the memories that he's going to give to all of us wrestling fans out there, is going to be one that shall be unforgettable. That shall be memorable to all of us. Whether you're an old school wrestling fan or you're a new school wrestling fan. If you don't know who Roddy Piper is, then I take it upon you, whether you're a new wrestling fan and you don't know about these old school wrestlers. Do your research, man, because let me tell you something. Wrestling is where, old school wrestling is where it's at. New school wrestling, you know what, there's different companies out there and they're doing their own thing. But I don't consider it wrestling. It's considered entertainment for some out there. But if you want to see old school classic wrestling, a match that stands out in my mind, and this is just coming off the cuff because this is what came to my head. I remember one of the best wrestling bouts of all time. I'm going to give you two. One was Roddy Piper facing Greg the Hammer Valentine in a steel cage in a dog collar match. That match you could probably find here on YouTube. That match, in my mind, was probably one of the best in his career. Another one that I would have to say, probably you guys will probably have mixed reactions on this, and that's just fine too. But honestly, I have to say, and this is going back to the old WWF days, and probably a lot of you guys are going to know where I'm going to go with this, but I'm going to have to say that Roddy Piper versus Goldust in the street fight. Can't remember the event, but I know it was a pay-per-view. I don't know if I want to say, I don't know if it was SummerSlam or Survivor Series, something of that nature, but it was a hell of a match. You know, we've lost a lot of professional wrestlers this coming year. Or should I say this past year, excuse me. You know, I was also a huge fan of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. My imitation of Dusty Rhodes once again. Probably not the best, but you guys know what I mean. Dusty Rhodes was a legend in this business as well, and I was so heartbroken when I heard that he had passed away just a few weeks ago. Probably just a mere 6 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks ago, not even. And then we lose another legend in this business, to having a heart attack. It's very sad. Probably a very emotional moment for a lot of people out there who are major fans of Roddy Piper. So I want to take a moment right now and send our heartfelt sympathy to the Piper family, his friends, his colleagues, and most importantly to all his fans around the world, because I know a lot of you guys are still devastated by the news, and I'm sorry. We're deeply sorry for that. We definitely understand where you guys are coming from and how you guys feel, because like myself, I am too a huge wrestling fan. Sometimes In life, things happen for a reason. And we've said it over and over again, you just never know when your time's gonna come. It's always good to always keep up on your health. There's always times where we're stubborn, we don't want to go to the doctors, we don't want to get checked out, we don't want to do any of that stuff. And I'll be one to admit, I'm one of those people. It's an unfortunate loss. An unfortunate loss in the wrestling business, in the wrestling world. But I hope that one day, whether his kids decided to get into wrestling or not, more power to them. But I hope that the wrestling world will keep the hot rod, Roddy Piper, the name, the legacy, the persona, the wrestler, the legend alive. So to those of you who are listening to this very special Blog It Up Tuesday, if you're looking to get into professional wrestling, you want to learn about how to go about studying characters. One man to study is the legend Roddy Piper. One thing that I remember many years ago, I was probably 10, 11 years old. And the first thing that ever caught my eye and what captured me to want to watch wrestling, become a huge wrestling fan, was that moment. And I'm sure this is a moment that a lot of you guys will remember. And it might have been your very first moment, one of your most memorable moments with the Hot Rod, is when he had Jimmy Superfly Snuka on the Piper's Pit. And when Piper took that coconut and smashed it over the head of WWE legend Jimmy Superfly Snuka, breaking down the walls of the Piper's Pit, watching Jimmy Superfly Snuka fall to the ground as Roddy Piper stands over Snuka and just laughs. That was true storytelling. That was when professional wrestling had a meaning. So let this be a special moment in our lives that we will remember, not only when a great legend left memorable moments for us, but let's keep his memory or their memory alive by sharing our stories, our wrestling stories, with our little ones, our kids, our grandkids, our brothers, our sisters, our friends. From all of us here at 102.0 LG Radio, Piper, thank you for everything that you've done in the wrestling business. And like I said on social media, somewhere up there, you're going to keep cracking those coconuts. And you're going to keep them laughing. From all of us here at 102 DLG Radio, thank you guys for tuning in for Blog It Up Tuesday. I will see you guys next week. And till next time, I'm your host, DJ Friction. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Much love, y'all. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. And most importantly, if you're a true wrestling fan, keep that legacy alive. Much love, y'all. I'll see you guys soon.